Welcome to I Heart Geek. And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. La, da, da. That's about all the singing I can do. I have no business being on this episode whatsoever, kids. But I tell you who does. We have Christina, we have Satomi, and we have Chris Giorgetti. We are talking about Disney animated musicals. And so let me stop my qualification now. I can't sing to save my life. Everybody here is like a freaking professional level minimum singer, and I'm not. So y'all can make me look really bad today. How y'all doing today? You feeling Disney-rific?
Oh, yes.
I think it's a wonderful day.
Is Disney the start of anime? That's the question. With the You know I'm right, Chris.
So, but you know.
So I got to say this first off, since you haven't been on forever. How you doing, Chris?
Well, I'm doing super duper dub. Thanks for asking.
I don't expect anything less.
Yeah, for those listeners who have wondered where I've been, I had a little surgery done. I'm okay, nothing too serious, but now I can eat and drink to whatever my heart desires, and I'm
Your
down 10
nose
pounds.
looks great.
Thank you.
You should see him when he stands up. It looks even better.
Yeah, it does, especially from this angle. But I honestly, I miss doing this, and I'm so happy to be back. Yay.
We've missed you, bud. Okay, so today's episode is brought to you by hearing a rodent sing and thinking it's completely normal.
It is.
It is.
What kind of drugs you guys have on the East Coast and in Oregon?
Disney magic, Dub.
I'm in
Disney
Vegas
magic.
and nothing's that normal. I mean, come on.
Dub, it's pixie dust.
Is that what they're calling it now?
Just ask Tinkerbell.
2 points to Tommy. Okay, so first question off the presses. What is it that makes Disney animated musicals so much different from every other musical? Now, I remember being a kid and you'd put on Grease and I'd be like, no, this sucks. This is for girls. You'd put on Sound of Music. No, this sucks. This is for girls. You'd put on any Disney animated musical. I'm good with it. What is the special thing that Disney has with their animated musicals? Let's start with Satomi on this one.
Well, Dub.
Okay.
Starting from the beginning, they really picked up on what was popular at the time. So when you're talking about like the early ones, Sleeping Beauty was based off of Tchaikovsky, the Tchaikovsky ballet, which people would have been familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we come into this more recent golden age of Disney, it's Howard Ashman and Alan Menken really who established that Disney sound for our musical theater geeks out there. These are the guys who wrote Little Shop of Horrors, and they just had this distinctive sound, and I think they also are responsible for this generation of musical theater lovers. Thank you very much. Ashman and Menken, thank you.
Christina, what about you?
I think they perfected the story arc. Like, definitely, when you look at some of the other ones that we've seen, they have that soft beginning almost every single time, and then they nail it with the drama, and you always get a happy ending.
Chris, I gotta walk away from that one, Mr. Giorgetti.
Well, there are a couple things, but let's see what I have in my handy dandy notes here. First, they're absolutely gorgeous to look at.
Yes, from the very beginning, they were.
Like, you could take pretty much any frame from any of the Disney animated films, put them in a museum, and I would go pay money and gawk at them for hours on end. Now, keep in mind, before the Disney Renaissance, which is 1989 to 1999, for those of you Disney aficionados out there, between the 1960s and 1985, some of the Disney animated films were hit and miss because they didn't. After Walt Disney died in 1966, they lacked real direction with the films. Because I remember Don Bluth wanted his big project to be what ended up being the Black Cauldron, but they felt that was too dark for kids.
Which was, I'm not going to disagree with that.
but then a little man by the name of Michael Eisner came along, and he like changed the company and Disney forever. Because from that point forward, he recruited this guy that Satomi mentioned, Alan Menken, who's responsible for all of the glorious music in pretty much every single movie starting in 1989, with the exception of like The Lion King and
brilliant.
Which was brilliant. That was Hans Zimmer of all, like Hans Zimmer, Tim Rice, and Elton John.
I mean,
but
come
yeah,
on.
the music, like they just
that's a Mount Rushmore right there.
Yeah, like they turned out hit after hit after hit after hit for like 10 years, and it's what got me hooked into all things Disney. And like it was like a perfect storm of the company had leadership, and then they just got all this insane talent. It's like they caught an entire lightning storm in a bottle, like for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's just, they became iconic for a reason.
So for me, I think it has to do with the fact that on when I was a kid, when I'd see a live action musical on TV, it would feel like they would stop and it would just be so awkward that they were singing out of nowhere. But with the animated, it never felt that way. It just felt like it kind of flowed. And there's something that I think live theater could learn from Disney, because it does has this flow to it that it doesn't feel like you don't feel yourself going from the acting to the singing.
I think what you were suffering from there was bad productions. And let's face it, that even in the professional world, it happens all the time. 9 times out of 10, when people say that they hate musical theater, I will get off this high horse in a second. When they say they hate musical theater, it's because unfortunately they've seen some sort of local production who doesn't understand that flow.
Yeah.
Or even, let's face it, there's some stuff on Broadway that you could take or leave, and it's that don't understand that. But when you really see a great piece of theater done properly, that's what you see. And I think Disney was able to capture that, especially because they're able to massage it before putting it out there. Now there are still some movies that don't do that, because
yeah, of course.
Reasons. That's a whole other episode.
Now, to defend myself on that a little bit, no, I don't hate musical theater. Actually, I really grew to love it. But it's when I was a kid, there was definitely a difference for me. And
I'm saying,
yeah,
I'm not saying that you hate musical theater. I'm saying that what you saw at that time.
I don't want y'all from New York coming over to Vegas and beating me up. Doing the.
But didn't
give me one of those dances, You're welcome.
You referenced West Side Story. You get 1,000 points, Doug. But like the thing about especially with like Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Hunchback, these were all written as if they were stage shows. I think that's why they resonate so profoundly with the public. It's because the story wasn't too complicated, and of course with some of the fairy tales that Disney adapted to make these films, they made it happy for the kids, which is a smart thing to do, especially with Hunchback, because if you've read Hunchback,
that's dark.
Well. No, it's so dark. But like I think that's why people, like, you don't necessarily have to love musical theater, but they love these movies because it's just, there's that Disney magic. Like, it's just so magical and wonderful and awesome. It's just like, how can you not fall in love with these films?
Well, another thing about it, especially in the formative years, is how safe they are. I remember just about every date I went on from the time I was in 8th grade till probably I was a junior in high school. At least if I was dating a girl for a while, at least one of those dates would be to a Disney animated musical movie, because there was something so safe, and you could still be a kid, but there's that romance underneath it and all that. And I thought that was Aladdin was a big one. I think I saw that with probably 10 girls. Not at the same time. I'm not that much of a jerk. Give me a break.
Okay.
Yeah. No, actually,
okay,
he's my friend. I got a lot of that. With that being said, there's something that was so safe about him, that was so endearing. and it's because you can watch it as a kid and you can watch it as an adult and you can love it for different reasons, but it still gives you the same feeling in your heart either way, which I think is it's an art.
I have to wonder if part of it is, whenever we watch any kind of entertainment, a lot of times the experience you have is you put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're watching. And I wonder with animation, even though Disney has run the gamut and continues to expand their ethnic representation, if because it's animated, it's easier to identify with the character.
Yeah.
Because
no
it's
matter
a little
what
more
their
generic.
ethnicity or whatever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can identify with a lion.
Yeah, exactly.
You can identify with a warthog. I mean, that is.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
have,
my friends
too
don't
many
stand
peppers.
downwind.
Wow, someone had to make the fart joke outstanding.
Just for you, Dub, just for you.
I appreciate that. So let me ask this. What was the first Disney animated musical that you personally, it kind of hit something in you that you love this? And I want to give mine first, and mine was The Jungle Book. I don't know how many times I saw that in the theater. I loved Baloo. I loved King Louie. I didn't like Mowgli. Didn't care for the character at all. But I loved all. That was one of those that I remember. I bought the soundtrack on tape. So see, Chris, they have these things called tapes, right? And they were plastic.
I know what a tape is.
And you had to fast forward and rewind. Okay, I was just checking.
Yeah,
I haven't made a Chris's Young joke in a while, and I just had to throw it in. That was
Chris
forced.
Is a grandpa. He knows what that is.
Wow, you are from Jersey. I watched Jersey Shore. I know.
That is not accurate.
Hey, at least I didn't throw any Springsteen jokes yet. So which was the first one that hit you guys? Let's start with you again, Satomi.
Sleeping Beauty. I mean, I remember they were doing runs when I was a kid. They were doing runs of the old Disney movies in the theater. I might just have given away my age. And
you're 21. Shut up.
Yes, thank you. And I remember seeing Pinocchio. I remember seeing Snow White, but for some reason, Sleeping Beauty really, really hit me. Now, it's probably part of the reason I'm such a massive romantic, and then life has made me a cynic, so I'm a cineromantic. But
is that like a cinephile?
Yeah, a little bit. But I think a lot of that was the artwork, and then of course the music, which we will get into later in our top 5. But
yeah.
They just were so successful in capturing. It just expanded what I thought the world felt like by watching this. So,
Christina?
The Little Mermaid. And I think it goes back to what Satomi said. It was the first time I put myself in the movie with that character. And the other ones were great, and I grew up watching them, and I love them. But Jodie Benson and the way she voiced Ariel, I fell in love. I loved it so much that I actually used to go up to Dornbecker's Children's Hospital here, and I actually used to sing Little Mermaid songs to the children. And because I loved it. And to this day, I sit down and I feel like, and I was way older than this when I saw it, obviously, but I'm 10 years old again, and I just resonate with that Little Mermaid. And I love the original story anyway. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, it delights me.
And I know it sounds creepy saying this as you're an old man, but no, that is still my animated crush to this day. I remember watching
mine too.
That when I was a kid, I'm like, I love this girl. I don't know that run, which we'll talk about in my top list. But oh my gosh. Okay, Chris, what about you, bud?
Beauty and the Beast is
it's a tale as old as time, I think.
It's song as old as rhyme.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. This is going to be a lot of this today.
So the movie came out when I was 2 or 3, I think. But I know. I know.
I drove to the theater.
But like even at a young age, I just fell in love with Disney with this movie, because between Beauty and the Beast and Lion King, Beauty and the Beast is a perfect movie. I'll fight you if anyone says otherwise. But like just the way the story is and the
animated,
characters. Yeah, the animated one. We're not talking about the
no, we don't.
live action
That's
one.
not talking about garbage. Yeah,
I have thoughts about that, but anyway, but like I just
That's
remember
another show.
I wanted to be Gaston, like just because he was so cool. And
you're
then
the first person I've ever heard say that. I'm not even kidding.
Because you know, and then you know, I'll talk about this later when we get into like the music part of it. Like for the stage show, which came out 3 years after the film, like they made Gaston so much cooler, but he was still kind of, you know, a bad guy. But then, you know, as I've gotten older, I kind of relate more to Cogsworth, and he's kind of like my Disney spirit animal for that film.
That's nice,
but yeah, Beauty and the Beast has a special place in my heart, and I'll get to that when we get to that part of the show.
Okay, this isn't in your notes, but I'm going to throw it at you anyway. What I think is kind of interesting with is how they change the flow of the movies from one to the next. For instance, we could take Robin Hood, which again, that was another one of those formative, but they basically took a plot line from Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, the singing chicken, which was Waylon Jennings, and the whole time through, that was so brilliant to me because Disney was able to make you relate. Like you were talking about, Satomi, the first thing we talked about with, you know, you could hear something, you can't recognize it, but you know it.
It's familiar.
And that's what they've done so well. And I think that and I don't know why the Robin Hood thing stuck in my head, but that Waylon Jennings rooster. Yeah, just I love that. Well, go ahead, Christina.
So I'm going to posit that perhaps Dukes of Hazzards came from Robin Hood because Robin Hood came out years before.
Did it?
It did.
Definitely.
No, are you serious? I gotta look it up. It's
Robin
like
Hood,
Robin Hood the animated.
You're talking about
it came out in the 50s.
Oodalali, Golly What a Day? Yes.
Oh my gosh, they did.
Yes.
You just broke my brain. For me, Disney animated doesn't start till 1976 when I was born. So that's when everything starts.
But I do think that you're right. I actually do think that the Dukes of Hazzard actually pulled a lot of that.
That's pretty exact, actually.
It's pretty exact. And they're
that
both called
tweaks me out a little bit.
They're both called the Balladeer too, so that's funny. I like that.
Wow! Yay! I made a point. Is there any other correlations that you guys can think of right off the top of your head from Disney animated to regular pop culture? I'll give you guys a second on it because you guys look like I see the wheels spinning. It's like,
well, for me, the Disney Renaissance that started with The Little Mermaid started the year I was born. I'm dating myself, literally. But it had such a profound impact on my childhood and people who grew up in my generation's childhood. It influenced us, and it influenced pop culture. Like, I don't think Disney had a clue that this was going to be as big as it turned out to be. Because I think the movie that they did before Little Mermaid was the Oliver and Company with Billy Joel.
Underrated and almost completely
yes.
forgotten about by 90% of people.
Why should I worry?
But like it just goes to show, like, I don't think we'd have movies like La La Land or all these musical adaptations, like with the Into the Woods movie, the Sweeney Todd movie,
Greatest Showman,
The Showman, Chicago. I think I said
Rent.
Chicago, but Rent. But like the point is, it's because of Disney and this little string of 10 string of 10 years where they just wiped the floor of everybody. Like there was like they became the standard.
Well, they sort of reinvented the wheel there because they had many, you know, the movie musical had been a stalwart of the entertainment industry that sort of fell out of favor. And with the resurgence of Disney in the golden years, it it really established. I mean, it had influences everywhere in the
Mhm.
style of pop that we were listening to, in music, to how musical theater developed and what was popular. The popular sound of the era was very much defined by that as well, because it was, again, something that had taken hold of the entire
Yeah.
um, psyche of the country and of the world, into what that was supposed to be, what
Well,
that was supposed to sound like.
can I ask everybody something just based on that? I mean, Disney is it's not in a bubble; it's ever changing. However, it feels like there is some. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this, but it's definitely chained to the originals. There is something about it that still feels like the originals. I don't know what that is. If maybe you guys can figure out what it is. It's the same. But my real question on this is, do you think that they can go too far? Because I mean, let's be honest, does anyone on earth want to remember 2020, 2021? No. We want to move past it. So how do they not um date themselves to the point that, oh, I remember this was a very bad time? Disney, it seems like even in bad times has moved along, but how do they not make themselves a product of the time, considering they keep evolving? Is that a weird question? Does everyone understand what I'm saying
No,
on that?
it makes
That's a great
sense to
question.
me. And I think if you look at like Raya, Disney just kept moving forward. They just kept pushing forward. And Raya doesn't really connect to 2020 and the bad times. It's a story of hope, and it's a story of moving forward, and it's a story Satomi and I adore. Uh, so,
But you can go back on our old episodes and watch.
absolutely. So I
It's still
think
up.
that Disney has this bubble that's a formula, and that formula works even though they're constantly tweaking and evolving and twisting it to fit the current culture as it evolves. But the formula itself has really remained the same,
Mm-hmm.
and they just make it work across the board.
What about you, Chris? What do you think on that?
Disney has their own magic, and that magic, they
Billions
can
of
fund
dollars. Yes.
billions and billions of dollars. But like,
It's
even
pixie dust.
even after the
Pixie
Disney
dust.
Renaissance, like they kind of stopped doing movie musicals around 2009. No, I'm sorry, 1999, when they did Tarzan, and then they took like a 10-year break. But within those 10 years, they did Emperor's New Groove, Lilo and Stitch,
Wally.
Wally, and they ventured into their partnership with Pixar. So I think they've managed to keep the magic and the pixie dust alive by not bringing in the current events of the real world. They choose stories that are uplifting and give you hope, and that like teach you something. Even if there isn't necessarily a totally happy ending, you still like the movie Coco. I was crying like a baby because it hit so deep. Because they talk about like life and death, and my not to get too sad on the show, but like my dad had just died, and I saw that movie, and it was almost it was catharsis for me. I just felt so impacted by it. Like it let me live again.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people love all these Disney films, is because they know how to make you feel good, even if the subject matter isn't the happiest thing in the world. But that being said, in 2009, they started doing musicals again with The Princess and the Frog, another underrated movie. And I'm so glad that they're going to be like the new theme of Splash Mountain. That's just me. But then they caught lightning in a bottle again with Tangled, with Frozen 2, with Moana. And I'm kind of glad that they're able to be so adaptive and flexible while keeping the magic.
Now, so Tommy, I'll get you in one sec, but I want to hit on that with the Pixar thing. Now, Pixar and Disney, I wish would never have merged. I love every one of those movies. Wait for this. Wait, before you get mad at me. I think every one of these movies. they definitely have a different feel. Wall-E is dated. Wall-E puts you in a bad place. It does. I mean, it's as good as the ending as it is. And with the ultra CGI, I want Disney to make Disney cartoons. I want Pixar to make these amazing things, but I don't want them to be together. I don't want to think of the Pixar movies as a Disney movie. And I mean, Incredibles is one of my favorite movies, period. Yeah.
Except I think they've kept themselves separate. I mean, yes, there's ownership there, but Pixar definitely has its own flavor that has nothing to do with the Disney flavor.
It definitely does.
That way.
It definitely does, but we're not seeing any Disney cartoons put out anymore either.
Well,
yes,
I think.
Well,
I think
just for that period, the Pixar was doing everything, Cars, and yeah.
I think that also has to do with the fact that Disney's magic is in the form of billions and billions of dollars, and they seem to have a knack of buying all the things we love. So like, look at Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar.
Yeah.
I'll disagree with you, Dub. I think the reason why the Pixar movies have become so big is because Disney has poured all of their time and resources into making those movies live up to the Disney standard.
I agree.
But I also agree with the fact that I think Disney should also do a 2D film every now and then, or at least if they're gonna do like an animated musical, do it. You know,
like Beauty and the Beast, for instance, that was a 2D, but it was groundbreaking. The Matrix would not exist, I believe, if it wasn't for Beauty and the Beast, because of the ballroom scene. That I read that was the inspiration for it, for the bullet time thing. It was the inspiration was because of the ballroom scene.
That's cool.
So that's saying something. Okay, so I didn't mean to cut you off. What was your thoughts on the ever-changing?
I mean, we could keep talking about that other subject, but anyhow, I think what makes it so enduring is they also appeal to adults.
Yeah.
And the reason it appeals to adults is that they are not afraid of dealing with adult subject matter. When you look at when Disney was falling off, was when they were appealing much. They were like, oh, kids, let's focus on the kids. And so the material ended up taking on, I'm not saying it was bad, but could sometimes to an adult seem saccharine or trite instead of being complex. And we've talked about this before in other shows. If you trust kids to grasp complex information, they will, and B, you're going to appeal to an adult audience. So all of a sudden we're talking about, not all of a sudden, but all of the greatest Disney hits, starting with Snow White, had something in it for the adults.
Yeah.
Had something that would really appeal to a breadth, just like anime in Japan. It's not just for kids. It is actually created for everyone.
Especially if there's an octopus involved. But
oh, good Lord.
I'm sorry.
This is a G show.
Head, you know what? If you watch that, that's on you. I didn't say a word. Now, actually, I want to jump on that, Satomi, because that's interesting with the adult thing. Because we always talk about, how we can go revisit our past as geeks. We love to go watch the stuff that we loved as kids, but with Disney, it's not necessarily a nostalgia trip. It is genuinely, you can watch it as an adult, not be like we are, not be geeks, and get it.
Yeah.
And that again, special kind of magic. And I'm glad you brought that up.
Universal themes that touch adults as well as kids.
And another thing I'm liking now, even though it is, and we're going far off the musical path, but as far as the Pixar Disney stuff goes, they're really trying to dig at some deep concepts, like with Inside Out, with Soul, very deep. I mean, pardon this, but the Sesame Street deep when Gordon died. It's that kind of deep that kids can grasp it and they need it, but it's not shoving it in your face. This is right and wrong. This is heaven and hell, whatever. This is the concept. Yeah. And it makes a lot of things easy to grasp.
And to bring it back to musicals, the thing about when you add music to it is that we accept when you sing what's going on a deeper emotional level versus when you would sing something when it's too big to speak it out.
Yeah.
That's sort of the basis of good musical theater usually, is if the emotions are too big, that's when the song happens, because you can't express it in words. It needs music.
Well,
And
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, there was a fantastic quote I read years ago that yes, this isn't religious, so relax, people. God gave us music so that we can pray without words. And that is exactly what you're talking about. It is your inner self. Going back
it's
to
permission. It's like given
yes,
permission to express itself.
exactly. And it's going back to Little Mermaid, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure. Well, I know we will. But that run she does, that spoke more to me than any lyric that's ever been written.
Mhm.
It's just amazing thematic writing musically, because that's a staple of musicals and classical music in general, is like these little leitmotifs,
Little
and
simple
themes,
parts put together to be complex.
because once it gets stuck in your head, you associate, oh, that's Ariel.
Yeah.
It's like, or if you start hearing the Gaston theme, I'm like, oh, that's Gaston.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just so brilliant what they've done for, especially in the Renaissance era.
Yeah.
Of it's just brilliant. And they're so relatable, because, as everyone said, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I've cried more after watching a Disney or Pixar film than an actual like dramatic film, because I don't know if it's just the beauty of the artwork or if it's just the simplicity of the story. Like, these stories hit home.
Yeah.
So that like years and years later, when I watch these films, like clockwork, it still gets me. Like, it's coming, but it's still they're just so poignant and so
Powerful.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting all verklempt, just like thinking about thinking about it.
I was gonna say, I agree with you 1000%. When I'm having a really bad day and I come home, it's Disney songs that I belt. Like, because there's this emotion in me I just need to get out. And so it just depends on, sometimes I'll sing a happy Disney song because I want to feel happier. But sometimes it's Hunchback. It's, something that's a little darker, something that's a little deeper. Coco. I also, because I lost my mom in 2017, when I watched that, I bawled through the whole thing because I felt that so incredibly powerful. And it did release a lot of hurt and pain that I didn't realize that I was still holding on to. Mm-hmm. So it's that power that they have in the song. And when you wrap that with their background music on top of it, it's phenomenal.
Which goes back to that Disney has the funds and the resources to hire these composers who understand dramatic writing.
Yeah, well, they write how I like to think that I write, and I think that they've got to write the music first before the lyrics, because they write a feeling, and it is. Yeah. That's how I like to believe that I write.
I can't entirely agree with that, because every composer has a different way of working, mm-hmm. but it feels like it.
Yeah, that's more what I'm saying. I haven't been in the room with any of them. I don't know, but
well, especially when you have teams. But yes, go ahead.
There's a great documentary on Disney Plus that kind of shows the resurgence of Disney through these animated films, and like it shows, like, I'll just use this because it just popped in my head, how The Lion King was a totally different movie before they basically started from scratch, because they had a concept for it, and then they realized it wasn't going to work because, watch the documentary on Disney Plus. I forget what it's called, but it's about like all the Disney animation. It's great, but I just wanted to throw that.
Make sure you put that
there
into our comments on YouTube and on Facebook. By the way, check out our website, www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the code we paid X for it. Please, if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, share us with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope we've earned your subscription by now. One last question, and we got to do this one quick, but I really want to hit this. why, oh why does Disney animated movies never translate well to the live? You guys can disagree with me all you want. I have not seen one that I liked even half of how much I liked it. Go ahead, Chris.
Can I go first? Can I go first? Okay. So here's my theory. Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. These are the two iconic movies that you do not touch ever. The only reason they work so well as live stage shows is because Alan Menken, praise his genius, went back to Beauty and the Beast and added songs to the show that actually told and amplified the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, when they came out with this live action film, they had so much material to work with. They could have easily taken the songs that were from the musical, which were so much better
Oh my gosh.
the things that they put in the live action film. And they didn't. They wrote this weird song for the Beast and they changed the actual story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it works because we all know what the story is. We know how it goes. We know every single note, every single word. And when you mess with it, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I would go as far to say, as instead of Disney spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on these live action remakes, how about you build the Mary Poppins ride that's been on the shelf for like the last 2 years, or redo Spaceship Earth, or build like another theme park? Because I would rather pay money to like go on a Mary Poppins ride than to watch these live action films that just make my blood boil. It just doesn't work because they changed the story. It's not cool.
Well, and also they with all due respect to actors who are trying their best, they hire celebrities who don't really know how to sing and also don't really understand how to act through the singing. It's a whole different skill.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got directors who they either pull from the theater who don't understand the film medium and how that has to be treated, or vice versa. You get a film director who doesn't understand how to translate the world of musical theater to a screen. These are very different disciplines. And it drives me crazy when people are like, yeah, that's all, it's all the same thing. You're acting, you're saying, and it really is not. When you are in a theater, and the closest person to your actor is 15 feet away, up to 30
Mm-hmm.
50 feet away, sometimes even further if you're talking about the really large houses, versus you've got somebody's face that is 10 feet wide on a screen. These are very, very different mediums, and they keep hiring people who don't understand the difference. Rob Marshall does, the guy who directed Chicago. So if they would hire directors who understand more deeply how to translate to the medium, and then stop hiring actors who can't sing the dang role.
Which the animated very rarely use. They use some celebrities, but if they were never the showcase, like, I mean, you have your Robin Williams.
It's all about what serves the story instead of what serves the budget.
Exactly. You don't know who Aladdin was. You don't remember. He was the guy from Full House, if you wanted to know. I mean, it's, because, this,
Or get your celebrity in there, but get them in a role that they can actually they can sing and perform and do well at.
Like Angela
Lansbury. Like Angela Lansbury. Or
Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline in the like he was perfect in the role as Belle's father in the Beauty and the Beast movie, but
you don't need a Snooki.
No,
I know I said that earlier, but because there is no facial recognition, stop it. Just stop. I mean, unless it's got somebody with an iconic voice like a Sam Elliott or something like that, or Morgan Freeman.
Sam Elliott is in a Disney animated.
Which? Oh, he is.
The Good Dinosaur.
He is.
Oh, nice.
The Good Dinosaur.
So what was yours, Christina? We got to wrap this up.
For me, first of all, I haven't seen any of them but The Lion King, because that's what my son-in-law wanted to see for his birthday. We always do a movie, in which that one, it's not live action, it's just CGI, which was ridiculous because it was almost the exact same story via CGI versus animated. But I made a decision, like, again, I go back to Angela Lansbury as Mrs. Potts. Nobody can do that part. And I love Will Smith, but nobody can be the genie but Robin Williams. And there are certain things that Disney did so well, they're crazy for trying to repeat it.
Yeah.
Because there are people that are so iconic in those roles. And again, supporting roles, but Tale as Old as Time is only Angela Lansbury.
Yeah.
Like, I had no desire to see any of them. So other than The Lion King, I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
You were spared.
Let me give the last word on this. We're going to move on real quick. And I think a lot of it has to do with what Satomi said, how you can see yourself in every character in the animated. You can't live action because it's so specific on who it is. Like, I don't see myself in this person anymore. And with the animated, boy, girl, animal, whatever color, you can see yourself. You can't do that with the live. And they may be able to, but they haven't cracked the code on it. And with that, let's move on to the listener feedback.
And now, let's see what all of our geek rock stars have to say.
So for this listener feedback, we asked, what is your favorite Disney animated movie and why? And Satomi, you read it today. You knew it would go to me.
Yeehaw! We got some great listener feedback today. We can't get to everybody, but Danielle Ariana said Pocahontas, in all its flawed, historically inaccurate glory, truth, as a musical theater, as a musical, it is dang near flawless. Every song is memorable, and the score is epic and sweeping in the most magical way. She was obsessed with it as a kid, and to this day, she knows every lyric and every fermata. Yes, thank you, music nerd geek. Sandra Huntsman, while Beauty and the Beast has a very special place in her heart, she's in a bonus feature on the 25th anniversary release, which was the most amazing experience. Sandra, you're going to have to tell us more about that. Frozen 2 is her top fave. She just loves Anna and Elsa and the journeys they take, and the music is incredible. Show Yourself is beyond brilliant. The Little Mermaid and The Hunchback of Notre Dame are also way up there, and she has to mention Anastasia. Yes, it wasn't made by Disney, but they own it now, and it's way up there as well.
What don't they own? I think they own our show.
Right. Come on, Disney, we're waiting. All right, and then finally, Oscar Vlad Rivas, The Lion King. Its African-inspired songs are a refreshing break from the other traditional musicals, very energetic, very spiritual, and very memorable. Every song is a classic, easily recognized by Disney fans. Be Prepared is his favorite Disney villain song. And finally, Kimberly Romine, Beauty and the Beast. She loves all the songs, and it was her favorite as a kid. She still sings along if she gets to watch it, which isn't often because she does have a house full of boys. That's okay. I think you need some time in your she shed.
Thank you, everybody, so much for your listener feedback. These, as I say, these make our show better, and I enjoy them a lot because I feel like I'm hearing from y'all, which you guys are probably more interesting than me anyway. So thank you all for doing your write-ins. Keep doing it. We try to get as many people on as we can. Now, I'm going to give you guys got like 5 seconds. You can name your one favorite Disney animated full movie from top to bottom. I'll do mine first. Jungle Book. Christina.
The Little Mermaid.
Chris.
Beauty and the Beast.
Satomi, what about you?
Moana.
Nice, because you like the Hawaiian stuff. Outstanding, and off to our main event.
Now it's time for the main event.
Okay, so for our main event today, I asked, what is our top 5 favorite songs in the Disney animated universe? Whoo, this is a fun one. So I'm going to start with my number 5, and Yeah. And I talked about it earlier, so we're not going to talk about it too much, but the vocal run from Little Mermaid. I used to, my joke in high school was, I will date any girl that will sing that to me, because that run just speaks to me more than Shakespeare, more than anything else. That run, I think, is just so amazing, and it's hard to hit. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So let's go start with Christina.
Part of Your World, Little Mermaid.
Very good. Why?
Again, it's look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Like there's just something timeless about that song that it's probably the song I sing the most in life in general. I love that song. I connect to it. For me, musically, it's just beautiful. And it has the run at the end, which I used to be able to do, but not so much now that I've gotten older.
Nice. Mr. Giorgetti?
What can I say except you're welcome? That's my number 5 song. It's The Rock singing. It's The Rock. I love Moana. I love that movie. It got robbed of its best animated feature Oscar by Zootopia. Curse you.
Did not like Zootopia.
I did not either. It was
not
fine.
either.
It was
It was fine, but Moana was so much better. Yeah, anytime you have The Rock singing, yeah. If you smell what The Rock's cooking. Yeah.
So tell me, what is your number 5?
When You Wish Upon a Star.
Such a classic.
From Pinocchio. It just, I mean, it is a beautifully written tune. It is complex. It is stunning. But most of all, because I am also a lyric hoe, it speaks to me. To me, a great song has got to have great lyrics.
You broke up.
I did. I got my baseball bat of words out.
Oh my gosh.
And it just speaks of longing, of that, just that reaching and that longing, and I just love it.
And such a great example of a song that could be sung by anybody, male, female, it doesn't matter. It's just, lyrically, it is pretty close to perfect. That is nice.
It's a universal feeling.
It's almost Muppet good. I'm just saying. Okay, so mine. Well, let's be honest.
It's up
the
there
Rainbow
with Rainbow
song.
Connection for me.
Yeah,
it is up there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 4, because I had 3 boys and no girls and no young nieces at the time, I can say this: Let It Go on Frozen. I know that burned itself out, but that is like my favorite singer on the planet, doing just such an amazing song. I get why parents of little girls hate this song. However, I'm not in that boat. I think it's just a beautiful song and so well written. Doesn't sound Disney to me at all, but it's just amazing.
You know, that song and the entire Frozen scores were written by the same people who wrote Avenue Q, right?
Shut up.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And there was no profanity in it?
No.
Oh, wow. And
Robert
no Arnold?
And, Kristen Lopez.
Yeah, nice. Wow. Okay, wow. Christina, now that my mind's blown.
Little April Showers from Bambi. It's just a lyrically just perfect staccato. Just a beautiful song that leads into this amazing sweeping orchestra moment and then rounds itself back down to that very staccato chorus of amazing. Yes, it's a storm and a song, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just
little April showers. Yes.
Yeah, because where I lived and where I work now, we're on 136 acres of woodland amongst 300 units, and we have lots and lots of deer. And it's in my head all the time now. Every time Bambi and his mom goes trotting across, or they're standing at my office going, "Hey guys."
This sounds delicious. Sorry, I'm the one that had to say it.
You're the only one that would say
I know.
The only one.
But it's all good.
Well,
baby.
Tyler might.
Chris.
My number 4 is Friend Like Me from Aladdin.
Oh.
2 words. Robin Williams.
Perfect.
Like
Wah, wah.
this movie encapsulated his insanity, and need I say more?
Well, yeah, his coke-fueled greatness.
Also,
let's be honest, that was when he was at his best, and that was it.
It really was.
Although
also,
wasn't he was off of it by then. He was off of it by Aladdin.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't judge.
But the we also got at the end, like that was the start of those like Disney slow jams at the end of the movies. We got a little Peebo Bryson action with a whole new world. Oh, give me some Peebo any time of the week.
Yeah, Disney figured out how to make themselves make a top 40 song in that era, because every one of them everything started going to the top of the charts. Yeah. I mean, they're beating out Michael Jackson on stuff. I'm like, wow. They were beating out Def Leppard. I'm like, that's weird. It's Disney. And I loved it at the time because it never hit my brain. So tell me, what is your number 4?
Listen, if she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. I'm talking about Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians, the animated. See, all of y'all are singing it. It just, I mean, it just, I can't put it into words. It's just, I hear it and I'm grooving and I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, and going back to what we've been hitting on, the melody first and then the lyrics, and they made a very specific announcement about it in that. I thought it was cool. Okay, so what are we at? Number 3. Sorry about this. I got to get my second screen working, and it will be working by next episode, I promise. So my number 3 is Under the Sea by Little Mermaid. With you gotta love a song with a steel drum solo. Just yeah, great song. I mean, it's a toss. I'm sure it's on somebody else's list, so I won't say the other one. But just that movie. I know it's island music, but it doesn't feel cheesy. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that Jimmy Buffett type feel. It feels good. Well, and I'm not insulting Jimmy Buffett, but that's kind of cheese.
It's a party.
It's a party.
Yeah.
Yay!
They do it really well. They made a party.
But I don't feel like the Little Mermaid had that hokiness.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So Christina.
This one is, as a mom, it's one of my favorite songs, and it's La La Lu from Lady and the Tramp. My daughter is 25 years old almost, and when she's having a bad day, she will call me and she'll say, "Mom, I need La La Lu." And I'll La La Lu, La La Lu. It's just this beautiful, beautiful, incredibly tender moment that Disney and it didn't have anything to do with the story. Not really. It was mom singing to the baby for the very first time. And it's just a timeless, beautiful song. And
it's up there with Baby Mine.
Yeah.
And it's Miss Peggy Lee. Like, how can it's Miss frickin' Peggy Lee singing that song. Of course it's going to be amazing.
You're almost ready to cry. I love that. Chris.
This might surprise this might surprise some listeners, but my number 3 is Hellfire from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Really?
So, yes.
Call me surprised.
Hunchback of Notre Dame is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best musical score Disney's ever done. And that's saying something because of what came before Hunchback. Alan Menken wrote it like, I could listen to this album by itself without watching the movie, and just the music is so beautiful. It's a crime that Hunchback has not made it to a Broadway stage, because it would sell out every single night. And going back to the film version, it's a really dark song. It's one of the most dark and complex songs that Disney's ever put to film. And the fact that you have Tony Jay's brilliant, dark, sinister voice singing it just makes it so much better. I watched it last night, like on YouTube on a loop. It's just, how can you not like Hunchback's music? But yeah, that's my number 3. It's just Alan Menken.
I want to know what part you would play in the musical.
Quasimodo.
Chris. I
Quasimodo.
love it. Totally.
Out there.
Yeah.
I'll give Tom Hulser in for his money.
Yep.
So tell me, what is your number 3?
Well, I'm taking it back to Lady and the Tramp, but mine is "We Are Siamese, if you please." Boom, boom. Thank you. I'm definitely a cat person. It's such a simple thing, and it's such a it's such a Western world, taking what their impression is of the Eastern world, and as a descendant of both Western and Eastern parents, I'm going to say I'm down. I love it so much. And it's Peggy Lee also playing the cats, purring as part of, or meowing as part of the music. And as a cat person, I also endorse this song.
And I think they both ended up belonging to Catwoman at some point or the other.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure.
The Etta James one. Okay, so we are on number 2. My number 2 is from my favorite Disney musical, and that would be "I Want to Be Like You." Oh, you want to be like you. It's just so happy and so bouncy, and I mean, you could put a distorted guitar in there and make it a metal song. It is just awesome, and I love it. And I mean, what's going on in the scene when it's happening is just mind blowing. Even today, it's not dated at all, and the song doesn't feel dated at all, and it doesn't feel like a show tune. It just feels like a song.
It's very Friend Like Me.
Yeah.
It's got that same, it's celebratory, and it's got that same sort of universal and yet different, so different.
Yeah. Christina.
So that's funny that's yours, because mine is "Look for the Bare Necessities." Yep, absolutely. Jungle Book. It's such a fun song, and I just, as a kid, I loved Baloo. I thought he was the best character on the planet. And so I just love that song. It's another really happy song. You're having a bad day. For me, it was between Bare Necessities and Hakuna Matata. But I went back a little more to my classic childhood verses. But yeah, both those songs are those feel good.
Yeah, and with Baloo, this just for a second. Every one of his songs are character building. I don't know if anybody noticed, but every one of his songs build his character, and I think that's kind of an interesting factoid. Chris, what is your number 2, sir?
My number 2 is also from my favorite Disney animated film, Beauty and the Beast. Be Our Guest. Because you have guest, be our guest. Jerry Orbach did the rest. See what I did there?
I saw what you did. I see what you're throwing down.
This is like, when you think Beauty and the Beast, you think of Tale as Old as Time and Be Our Guest. It's just such a fun song, and you're instantly happy when you hear it. And I have to say, because Beauty and the Beast holds a special place in my heart, because 1, it's my favorite film. 2, my dad was a stagehand on the original Broadway production. So I literally lived that show.
Wow.
Like my childhood. So I got like a front row seat, literally, to like see how well Beauty and the Beast transferred from an animated film to a stage show. And I have to throw this little factoid out there. The guy who originated the role of the Beast was also Javert in the original production of Les Mis, Terrence Mann. But yeah, Be Our Guest.
Nice.
Because, I've eaten at the Beast's castle in Disney World. It is magical. And the gray stuff is delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes.
Wah wah. Yeah, I wonder why you ended up in musical theater. It's all clear now. So tell me, what is your number 2?
My number 2 actually was not in the body of the film. It was one of it. It was one of the Peabo Bryson moments, but it was not a remix. It was "If I Never Knew You" from Pocahontas. True confessions, Pocahontas is not my favorite Disney film. I think it suffers from a lot of issues. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of incredible music in it, and it's an important story that was
And Vanessa Williams.
really super Disneyfied. I didn't really dig that, like, I loved that nobody could understand each other, but then a tree sang and everybody could, and nobody took the effort to actually learn the dang language. I was like, "No, no, 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 no." Anyhow,
Tell us how you really feel.
that being said, how I really feel is that If I Never Knew You, um, encapsulated the feeling between the two of them, and it's just dead romantic, y'all. It's just it's just super Roro, and it's a beautiful, if you've never heard of it, take a listen. It's just a beautiful song. Beautifully
Nice.
written.
Okay, so we're running out of time, so we're not going to be able to do our honorable mentions.
Oh.
However, I'm giving you everybody that's on the panel a job on YouTube and on Facebook. Underneath this video, you can type it out on one and copy and paste it to the other. It will be on our honorable mentions will be on both YouTube and Facebook. It's on air now, so you have to do it.
You're very bossy.
Does that work? Oh well. If you're not used to that by now, really. Okay, so my number one for so many personal reasons is A Whole New World from Aladdin. This was the one song that was completely in my range, and it's the one song I remember I tried for the solo and I came close, and it was this song is just so perfect to me. I think it's the ultimate love song. I think it's just beautiful, top to bottom. It's not syrupy, it's not cheesy, it's not schmaltzy, but it is definitely just pretty, I want to say, without being overly so. Okay, so Christina, what is your number one?
So my number one is probably, in my opinion, the cheesiest yet the most romantic song Disney ever did, and that is "There You See Her, Kiss the Girl." It's unbelievably delightful. There's this humor in it with Scuttle, but fundamentally, it's just it's just the sweetest, most romantic song. And because I listen to a lot of like Disney, and I have a lot of Disney cassettes and things, it was also the first song that was playing when Sean kissed me, so it has a little place in my heart.
Aww.
So.
Okay, Chris, I top of First Kiss. So yeah.
I don't think I can do that because my song is not a romantic song. It's Be Prepared from The Lion King.
Oh, so good.
Polar opposite.
It's a fun song. It's rare that the villain gets a song to begin with, but when you have Jeremy Irons like monologue his whole plan and song, it's just wonderful. There's some imagery in the animated film that did not age well. You'll know what it is if you watch it, but like the fact that they got away with that in 1994 is just like, okay, I see you, Disney. Fun fact about Be Prepared, and then I'll give Dub the floor again because it's his show. Jeremy
Wow,
Irons.
I sound like a tyrant. Okay.
Love you. Jeremy Irons actually blew his voice out during the recording of Be Prepared. So if you listen closely to the last verse, it's a different voice.
Really?
That voice is Jim Cummings, who also is the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
And Ed.
And Ed. The subtlety it's like so minuscule that Jim Cummings did a spot on Jeremy Irons impression just for a verse, but it's brilliant. So
I have to go look.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like you gotta listen real. It's only the last verse, like the last 30 seconds, but you'll be like, oh, that's not Jeremy Irons. Okay.
I probably would have never noticed if you didn't say it. Now that I'm not going to be able to pay attention to anything but.
Yep.
Satomi, close us out.
How Far I'll Go from Moana. I love me some Lin-Manuel Miranda. Thank you so much for all that you give us on a regular basis. But But again, it is that longing, it is that reaching, it is striving. And that always calls to me. And it's beautifully done, and it's beautifully sung, and it's inspiring, and it's just gorge.
Gorge. I like that word. That's so y'all have a gorge day. Thank y'all so much for being on the panel. Thank you everybody who sat and listened to the whole thing. Check out the Facebook, go to the YouTube, go to the Twitter, go to the Instagram, go to the Discord, go to the smoke signals, follow the tree that will talk to you and tell you about our show. Go to the Patreon because we
check
have
out our honorable mentions.
Tons of new content coming out. Subscribe, all that fun stuff. What's up, Chris?
Did you pay extra for the .com for the website? I'm not sure about that.
I did pay extra for the .com.
And should we go to that website?
You should go to www.iheartgeekshow.com. Oh my gosh, I want to say it so bad. This is like bothering me now. I'm going to be like OCD all day. Use complicated extra for it. I can't know. I try not to. Get a shirt on the shop because it's good stuff. And until next time, I'm Dub. I'm here with Christina. I'm here with Satomi. I'm here with Chris. Keep on geeking on, kids.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.